From the brand of Versace, okay, this one is very easy for me because Versace are kind of mediocre. I said it, guys. A lot of their stuff is for children, in my opinion. Just stuff that's really juvenile, simplified. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. You have clicked on my clickbait title of keeping only one fragrance for life in 10 designer brands. What's the point of these for life videos that fragrance reviewers love to do? Well, guys, honestly, they get a lot of views, first of all, but also it's because you kind of get to see what are the best of the best. There's a lot of noise and clutter in the fragrance industry. You need to know what are the best fragrances from certain brands. A lot of these are old fragrances, like a lot of the new stuff just isn't that good, honestly, and I do think there's going to be classics that just stand the test of time, the ones I always go to, but hopefully this is like a refreshing list that's a refresher that lets you know what my updated tastes are like nowadays, what I think the best fragrances are from these 10 brands. Let's begin. From the brand of okay, one second, let me just, oh, okay. I was just gonna pause my notifications on my phone, by the way, guys, and one of you actually just made a purchase from Mr. Momentum from my brand Atrium, which is our passion fruit and mint blue fragrance. It's our versatile creative scent that is already available in our warehouses, so you guys can get that very quickly. We pretty much dispatch it as soon as possible, so go ahead and click the link in the description below, guys, if you wanna support the channel and you wanna try out some cool, interesting new perfume ideas. From the brand of Versace, okay, this one is very easy for me because Versace are kind of mediocre. I said it, guys. A lot of their stuff is for children, in my opinion. Just stuff that's really juvenile, simplified. They jumped on this train of simplifying their scent profiles a lot sooner than other brands did, in my opinion. They kind of started it all off with Versace Eros, or even fragrances like Mano Fresh. Actually, Mano Fresh, I gotta give it to them, it's a bit more interesting, but the newer their fragrances got, the more boring they became, especially with Eros Energy. That's just like a weird, over-glorified clone of Mont Blanc Explorer. It was kind of lame from them seeing Versace making clone fragrances, so it was a bit lame. So we have this fragrance here, which is kind of a clone, but overall I would say this is not a clone. I would not say this is a clone. This is Versace Pour Homme. I think this has always been my #1 fragrance from Versace for pretty much forever. Like, I think this is my style. It's handsome, it's masculine, watery, fresh, citrusy, very clean, neroli. You smell fresh and handsome out the shower. You smell like a handsome Mediterranean man, which we all aspire to be, guys. Let's just face it. So even if I live in 1 degree Celsius London out here, I can feel like a handsome, tropical gentleman wearing this fragrance. The ease of wearability is what makes this iconic. It's not the best performer, but it's kind of the fragrance you can get a 200 ml of and you know you're gonna smell great. Some people say there's similarities to Chanel's Allure Homme Sport, the original. I love that fragrance, probably hence why I love this DNA as well, but I do not think they are redundant to own both. I think they're both just fantastic, easy grab and go fragrances. #1 in the brand, easily for me, Versace Pour Homme. In the brand of Prada, we have a brand that is very solid. They're kind of boring because they're like nerdy fragrances, let's say Prada. They're very soapy, but elegant, but they're kind of played safe. In a way, it kind of makes them a little bit forgettable, in my opinion. Hence why I don't really ever talk about Prada L'Homme, Prada Luna Rossa Carbon. Even Prada Luna Rossa Black hasn't got a mention on the channel for a long time, and I'm starting to see why. It's because none of these fragrances are necessarily bad. They just kind of lack character, and I think that's kind of what the play of Prada is. But this fragrance here has a lot of character. Of course, guys, it's my baby Prada L'Homme Intense. Evening Iris perfumes are becoming abundant now, but this is still easily one of the best because it smells elegant but sexy at the same time. It smells dark, it smells expensive, it smells niche actually, and it performs beautifully, and you can wear this most of the year round. So I do think this is easily their best fragrance still to this day. I don't really know any other fragrances that are beating it right now. Prada are going in a weird direction as well. They're Ocean line, I'm not the biggest fan. I wish that all these designer brands would just stop going in this very simplistic, gloop, ambery, sweet style. I wish they would just do their own thing and not be afraid to take more creative risk. 37.9% of people who watch School of Scent are subscribed to us. If you guys really want to see our channel grow, go ahead and click subscribe. Let's get that number to 40%. Thank you. The brand of Giorgio Armani, again, they've become a little bit uncreative. They are really relying on their old lines like Acqua and the Code line, but nowadays it's just like repackaging and reformulating their usual stuff. Even this fragrance here is not creative, it's just a slight modification of an old idea, but it's this fragrance I've chosen, and that is Armani Code Parfum. Don't get me wrong, I really like this DNA. It's not creative, as I said, because it smells very similar to the original Code, but it lasts longer. It smells like a handsome gentleman. You're like a very safe man in a black tie with the white shirt going to the office. Like, that's the kind of vibe you get with this fragrance. It's kind of safe, but at the same time, they show that safety in a fragrance doesn't have to mean that it's poorly done. It can be still quite interesting. This is a creamy tonka citrus with a hint of iris in here. That's really beautifully done. Very creamy, very gentlemanly. I love the magnetic lid. It's a sad thing to see that gone in their newer bottles. As far as I know, they've taken that away, which is sad. But yeah, I do think Armani Parfum is just a beautiful, elegant, slightly mature signature that just smells like handsomeness. 10 hours longevity, soft and medium projection, wear this most of the year round. The brand of Guerlain, they are a gorgeous brand, beautiful French perfumery with creative ideas. Although again, it feels like they're just kind of redoing their same creations again with their new Parfum series, stuff like that. So again, are they going in the wrong direction? Hopefully not, still early days, but hey, this fragrance here, I'm in love with this. This is L'Instant de Guerlain Eau de Parfum. I slept on this fragrance for too long, as I always say, guys. So don't waste your life, don't waste your years ticking by without having having this fragrance in there. I mean, you know, you don't have to have it in your life, but yeah, it's great. It's a really good perfume. It is like what I always wished Dior Homme Intense was for me. Dior Homme Intense is great, but this is like a handsome man who's mysterious, enigmatic. It smells a bit chocolatey. Why does he smell of chocolate? Who knows? Again, he's enigmatic. No one knows why. And he smells of woods, the ambers. It's a little bit spicy. I think it has like the anise note in here, so a little bit licorice-like. I would say that the L'Homme Idéal line is more creative for sure, but it's a little bit feminine for some people, including myself. And I kind of feel like this is just easier to wear. This is your cold weather signature. You can wear it in 3 out of 4 seasons as well in the last 10 hours. Don't waste your time with the eau de toilette. I am telling you guys now. Just go straight to EDP. The brand of Thomas Ford again. Okay, guys, I'm kind of laughing already because this is just going to be a repeated statement throughout this video. A lot of these designer brands are not in their creative heyday like they used to be, and Thomas Ford is one of them. This fragrance here, though, is a masterpiece that is very difficult to replace, hence why it's in my For Life video, because some of the other fragrances, you can find alternatives for them, but for this, it's very difficult. Of course, that's going to be Noir Extreme. Like, let's say your favorite is Grey Vetiver, you can use Terre d'Hermès to replace that. Let's say your favorite is Beau de Jour, you can find other barbershop fragrances also. Ombré Leather, again, you can find leather-forward fragrances to replace that. But Noir Extreme, which fragrances are you replacing this with other than Noir Extreme Parfum? Like, I'm not even talking about, okay, we're not mentioning clones or anything, guys. I'm just saying designer, direct head-to-head comparisons. This is a unique fragrance. Still, I don't know why no other brand has tried putting in kulfi. That's such a unique idea. I don't know, maybe like Thomas Ford himself was like on holiday in India. It's more of a dairy desserts that they have over there in India. It's just such a cool idea. You smell sexy in a weird way. And I think, you know, that's kind of admirable. You know, it's just like, you don't want to be forgettable. This is the kind of fragrance you wear so you do not ever get forgotten, because she'll smell you and just be like, why do you smell so weird? Why do you smell like food? And you'll be like, oh, it's my fragrance. And you'll never be forgotten, honestly, guys. But this is, in all seriousness, this is very creative. Dark, floral, vanilla, gourmand, kulfi, that just smells so irresistible, unforgettable. I had a friend as well who wore this, like, I think went through his entire bottle very quickly when he smelled this. When I showed him this fragrance, he absolutely loved it. So yeah, some of you guys out there will absolutely fall in love with this. A masterpiece, still relevant. It's really surprisingly timeless as well. I think this is a fairly old fragrance, but it's not going anywhere. I think it's more than 10 years old by this point, and it still smells as new as ever. In the brand of YSL, again, it's just, let me make my point again. Everything's been so simplified. Think back to fragrances like, I don't know, Jazz or M7 Absolute. You know, these fragrances, you can see there are no breakdowns. And then look at modern day creations by YSL, like MYSLF, for example. They've really oversimplified things. They've kind of went very safe routes, even like since the days of the Y line. You know, they went for the stuff that makes money, nowhere near as creative anymore. And this fragrance is kind of, again, in their golden days. And that's La Nuit de l'Homme Le Parfum. So you might be surprised I chose this fragrance. I think this is a really slept on fragrance. This is very sexy in its own way, and I feel like, again, the other La Nuit de l'Homme kind of feel like they can be replaced, or they have clones. Okay, I know I'm kind of cheating now by using clones, but they kind of can be replaced. This is very difficult to replace. This is La Nuit de l'Homme gone rogue. It's gone and become a sexy bad boy. If you guys ever watch Vampire Diaries, I don't know what that show is. I have no idea why I'm referencing it. Don't ask too many questions. Though imagine you're Stefan wearing La Nuit de l'Homme. This is like Damon wearing this fragrance instead. It's more of that sexy bad boy character, very handsome. I don't know this show, guys. I don't know why I'm referencing it, but it really is a perfect example of or a perfect analogy for this fragrance. It's dark, peppery, fruity, sexy, lively. You're out in the evening and having fun, basically, is what this fragrance is all about. And also a good amount of time as well, around 8 hours. But at the same time, it's balanced enough to the point where if you want to rock this in the daytime, in the autumn or winter, I think that works fine as well. So stop sleeping on this, guys. This is a really nice flanker. Too many people are not appreciating this. Try it out, guys, and see if this puts you onto the Nuit de l'Homme in a new, different direction. The brand of Jean-Paul Gaultier, which is going crazy on TikTok all the time nowadays. I don't know if TikTok's even around anymore. I'm so old, guys. I don't know who's banning what or what people are going to. Is Red Note the new app now? Is that what people are doing? I don't know. So maybe on Red Note, Jean-Paul Gaultier is going crazy. This is a brand that's consistent. I appreciate that. It's very reliable. It's still creative as well. Even though the fragrances aren't the most complex, they're still very nicely done. They have great perfumers like Quentin Biche who keep that flame of creativity going. So I respect them for that. They're quite a youthful brand. And as I'm approximately 87 years old, guys, I like the more mature fragrances. And that's why I'm picking this fragrance here. That is Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Mal Le Parfum. This is my #1 fragrance from the brand straight up in general. I think it's the best blended, very good performing. It's quite creative still, and it's quite cool how they take the original idea made by Francis Kurkdjian, by the way, all the way back in 1995. That's an old fragrance now, which actually I think is a little bit outdated now. It just smells a little bit, I don't know, it's like you're a cool granddad trying to stay hip and relevant. It's just becoming a bit weird now. You know, it's a classic for sure. It's not a bad fragrance, but I feel like this is more relevant, more modern. It still has that classy maturity. It's got that beautiful cardamom, which is a great spicy note. That's a bit earthy, aromatic, masculine, the woody ambers, the vanilla, the iris in here, the slight animalic tinge in here that no one talks about. That's why it's creative. They sneaked stuff like that in there without people noticing too much. And yeah, as I said, it performs great wearability. It's a 10 out of 10. It's perfect, honestly, especially for a designer. Like, I think this is designer level, but a little bit elevated. So yes, if you want to be that handsome, masculine, reliable, let's say that daddy character people are going for. I'm sorry, that sounds so cringe even saying that, but yes, if you want that daddy energy, as they say on the Red Note app, potentially, I don't know which app, but if you want that, you go for Le Mal Le Parfum. I'm sorry, guys. Speaking of Francis Kurkdjian, let's go to Dior. He is on a bloodbath in that brand. I think he's shocked all of us with some of his bad releases in recent times. So I think I've tried 3. I've tried the Sauvage Forte. It deserves all the hate. There's Dior on Parfum 2025. Better, but not that good. And then we have Bois Talisman, which everyone, I have a sample, I've tried like 1 spray. I can see what people are saying. It's like a weird overpriced clone of By the Fireplace, which is a bit strange. So yeah, Francis Kurkdjian's going on a mad one in the brand right now, but Dior generally have done some fantastic revolutionary things for the industry. They're going through a bit of a phase now. They're still a relevant brand. They're still very much strong and solid, but I will always choose this potentially quirky choice. And that is Dior's Fahrenheit, the original. As I said, guys, I'm approximately 88 years old, and this fragrance is an old school scent, but at the same time, it smells super modern. Like, oh, my atomizer just, oh, what the heck was that? That's broken. Okay, my bad, guys. I got a broken bottle now. Okay, we'll ignore that. But yeah, this is a beautiful fragrance. It is such a weirdly masculine scent. It's so weird in its own way. That's why I love it. And also, it's just strange how this is the fragrance that really inspired pretty much all fragrances now, with this high amount of isoe super in there. It's a woody molecule that gives a fragrance a little structure, makes it much more mass appealing. Pure isoe super on its own molds around the individual skin. That's why it's such a great molecule to use, because it makes everyone's skin have its own charm with a fragrance. For me, this fragrance works on my skin. That's why I love it. It's leathery, fiery, a little bit green, masculine. It probably has a bit of patchouli in here, give a bit of that sweetness, but overall it's just a roaring signature that does not care what you think of it, and that's why it's so cool. Again, most brands would not ever dare to make something this creative nowadays, which is really sad. I get around 10 hours in my bottle with a medium projection, and you can wear this pretty much all year round as your day and night signature. I love Fahrenheit. Again, it's maybe similar to Le Mal. You know, I say it's a classic. This is a classic. I think everyone should try this. I still think this is timeless though. The brand of Dolce Gabbana. I'm actually wearing one of their newest releases now for an upcoming video. Again, Dolce Gabbana have become a bit weird because they used to be kind of cool, and I feel like they're less cool now. I think when they added a weird tacky crown onto their bottle. I think that's when they started going downhill. Maybe it feels like they were trying to copy Paco Rabanne, having these really weird tacky plastic replica bottles. So I feel like they're not as cool and Mediterranean and hip as they used to be, but this is a classic from them and I still love the bottle design of this. That is Dolce Gabbana's light blue Eau Intense. It's either this or the one Eau de Parfum. I still feel like to this day, these two fragrances are the best from the brand. So again, their fragrances have become more youthful and they're trying a bit too hard maybe. Again, those tacky bottles I'm not a fan of. So light blue Eau Intense, I love it. It has sentimental value for me because I think one of my close family members wore this DNA when I was younger. So I kind of grew up with this fragrance. Maybe it was original probably, but the Eau Intense, you pretty much don't need to get the original. Get the Eau Intense, it's better. It lasts longer, smoother, aquatic, salty, musky, beautiful yuzu citrus notes in here. This is handsomeness in a bottle. When I think of Dolce & Gabbana's old days of being handsome and Mediterranean, I think they used David Gandy for that ad campaign for this fragrance. Yes, that suits him. There we go. Actually, if you want to be like David Gandy, who's an Essex boy, by the way, but I both grew up in Essex. He ended up growing up to be a bit more handsome than myself, though, I think, if I'm being humble, guys, which is a bit sad. But yes, I will say Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense. This is a classic. I think it's still timeless as well, surprisingly. It's not the most natural smelling fragrance, but it just smells like the summertime. The summertime's always going to smell oceanic, salty, musky. That's why this fragrance works. So yeah, I think pretty much this timeless classic. I'm pretty much always going to have this in my collection for life. I love this fragrance. And lastly, we have to talk about the brand of Chanel. They're not destroying their image like some other brands are. You can't really say they're going downhill, but that's because they're not really creating anything. They are just chilling out. They're like, okay, we've completed the game. They're just like, yeah, like they see fragrance as a video game and they're like, we've done all the levels and we're just gonna relax now. So yeah, no more for any of you. So Chanel are cool though. They have creativity, elegance, ease of wearability. They're probably the best gifting brand out there. They kind of just work for a variety of age groups and it feels cool to get a Chanel fragrance. Again, One for Life from them is actually probably the most difficult out of all these brands, potentially the most difficult because there's so many good ones. I could have chosen Bleu de Chanel, but you can kind of replace that with other blue fragrances. You can kind of get Floris's Santal Intense, which is a relatively new niche fragrance, which actually it's not a clone at all, but you kind of get a similar vibe. Potentially if you want like the niche upgrade of Bleu de Chanel, you can go for that. I really love Chanel Antaeus, but again, you can kind of replace Antaeus with Kouros by YSL or Dior's Fahrenheit as well. They're not the same, of course, but they come from the same genre, the same era, let's say. So this is the fragrance here that I find is very difficult to replace. And that's Chanel's Allure Homme Edition Blanche. Pretty much their entire Allure Homme line in Chanel is fire. You know what? I'll even give it to Superleggera. It's still it's still a good fragrance overall, although it's just a disappointing release, but they are very reliable with their Allure Homme line. They're all very good, actually. Like compared to the rest of the industry, the rest of perfumery, they're very good. Safe, usually brighter scent profiles for the warm weather. They're quite complex, interesting. They each have their own character, really, overall. So I feel like, yeah, it's a great line in general. It's kind of one of the goats in perfumery, that line. Edition Blanche might be the most niche-esque version of the Allure Hommes. Creamy, lemon, a little bit of lavender in here, woody, smells like elegance, it has this pop to it. If you're a rich man in let's say a bright linen suit walking down Mayfair, London in the summertime, that's the kind of vibe you're gonna get with the Laurent Homme Edition Blanche. It smells like money, it smells of wealth, it smells of just an oligarch who rules the world. So if you want that kind of vibe, if that's what you aspire to be, like this is the fragrance for you. It's not the most wealthy of all fragrances. There are probably more luxurious smelling summer fragrances like Burlington 1819. But this is simple to wear. This is simple wealth. This is like the wealthy man needs to just go outside and get his, I don't know, he needs to buy a bouquet for his Met Gala or something like that. I don't know what rich people do, but yeah, this is probably just like a casual, wealthy fragrance. That's how I would describe Allure Homme Edition Blanche. Creamy, citrusy, one of the best lemon fragrances ever made. And I get a solid 6 hours with it, so I think it's pretty good performance. I think it's easily worth the money. Not an easy buy, you know, probably should try it out first. Probably don't need to blind buy it. Try it out if you can, because it's quite expensive, but you know what? I can see why it's priced higher than the other Allure Hommes, because this kind of does stand out to me. This smells really expensive in a way compared to all the other fragrances in the line. And that concludes this video, guys. I don't know why, I'm in quite a talkative mood today. I feel like this video probably went on for way too long, but hopefully you guys had a a strange, immersive experience as to how I would choose these fragrances as my 10 for life from each of these brands. But let us know, guys, what are your thoughts on these 10 designer brands I covered today? Do you feel like designer perfumery is going in the right direction or in the wrong direction? Let us know your 1 for life fragrances from a few brands in the comments down below. You can put down as many brands as you want, guys. It's your comment section, well, our comment section, and yeah, go crazy, guys. Let us know your thoughts. Do you agree or disagree with my choices as well? If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our recent video on niche fragrances I would keep for life. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.